every revolution or every political movement or any kind of change, and having someone, okay, CIA, which is fucking for you to call me CIA when you know I'm not.
Everything was politicized. It was, oh, this is when we became the left versus the right. But both sides are trash. In COVID,
his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that like we're using money and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money, and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system.
Politician, you think they're gonna come out and tell me the truth? They was lying to my mama. They ain't gonna never tell us.
So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood or we see this every day. All the way up. These people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth.
What's going on in anyone's mind, but let's take it as a given that Gray's argument is true, that the argument to not have ID is that it would be discriminatory versus certain socioeconomic brackets or something. It's like
the world's greatest trial run of what people will do and what people won't do. And we are the only country on the planet that really fought against the government. A lot of it,
because you focus on 80-20 issues. I'm looking at the Epstein issue as we have 80% of the information we need to prosecute these people that actually did anything, but you're focusing on the 20% trying to take down Donald Trump, which you're never going to get. So I'm going to keep sitting here with a smug-ass face on every single day.
I'll explain. Good question. I'll give you the answer. The Republican Party constantly talks about transgenders and transgender surgery to minors.
I'm mostly on the left, ideologically, but I don't associate with the Democrats because they're not ideologically on the left. The Democrats are clowns, and they're also losers.
About to be any engaging conversation. It's not about to be any discourse about different political ideologies, what works and what doesn't. If that is the outcome, right? For example, I'm not going to go and just put myself in the middle of a KKK rally.
Verify me. I'm not a fucking fed. They always do this. I'll say this, right? But they did the same thing to Nick. We've seen the video. They'll call people who are genuine and authentic feds. Because
the interesting thing to me is that the ones that claim that they believe the Constitution are now trampling the Constitution. The ones that said they believed in the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, right, are now going against the freedom of speech.
leadership perspective.
They don't have no plan. They don't ever talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
Reveal hundreds of references to President Trump, who's never been charged with any wrongdoing. Some describe allegations referencing underage women. Others detail parties allegedly held at the president's Mar-a-Lago estate. A 2012 email details the possibility of Epstein going to Mar-a-Lago after Christmas. That's several years after Trump claims he and Epstein ended their friendship.
I haven't spoken to him in probably 15 years or more.
In a 2016 deposition, Epstein is asked several questions about former President Bill Clinton flying on his jet and whether he was accompanied by two young women. Epstein answered fifth to each question. Clinton has denied any wrongdoing. In another email, Epstein writes about helping Microsoft founder Bill Gates to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls. Gates' ex-wife told CBS News her then-husband's relationship with Epstein played a role in their divorce. Epstein, in an exchange with Elon Musk, discusses sending his helicopter to take him to his island. Musk asking what day, night, will be the wildest party. Danny Bensky, who said she was abused by Epstein in 2004 at age 17, believes the Justice Department is withholding information.
So I think that the release right now is being sold as transparency, and it is not transparent at all. I think it 100% protects the perpetrator.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
We didn't protect or not protect anybody. I mean, I think that there's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents.
A spokesperson for Bill Gates called the claims against him completely false. No comment yet from Elon Musk. The White House says the documents include sensationalist claims against the president, and the Justice Department says it withheld about 200,000 documents for legal reasons, and that the review of the Epstein matter is complete. Tony?
Ed, thank you very much.
What are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm the
lowest.
I'm the lowest. Your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
I'm sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody knows
smart?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Satan is at the number 1 or 2 archangel, and the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie.
Trump has said that he will sue Grammys host Trevor Noah after he made a joke about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland, which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton.
Trump claimed the joke was false and defamatory on Truth Social, saying he's never been to Epstein Island.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Described him as one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
Welcome to the Man Cave. Welcome to the Man Cave. I'm Gray Mars.
Ken Billions, what's good?
I'm Doc.
Skeptic and Mia. Mia, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's me. I'm sorry.
Let me remove this banner so I can see y'all. Okay, so Jeffrey Epstein, the files came out. Ken, what do you think about it?
They all did that shit. I mean, they all did that shit. I mean, oh gosh. I think it's very interesting that the public needs this to not be true, especially when it comes to like Jay-Z. Like they need it to not be true because the public has heroes, but they don't understand how the occult works. And they don't understand that the modern political landscape is just a world that is built on an ancient world where the same exact behavior went on. Rome used to have orgy festivals. Babylon used to have orgy festivals. Greek culture, same shit. Egypt, same shit. These sexual practices with minors is regular, right? In terms of the history of humanity, dealing with the ruling class. This is not new. This is very old, but I think it's cognitive dissonance that no matter what that they show, the public is going to, not your dude, not my dude. Your dude would do this, but not my dude. It's just very interesting, but this is old shit. It's a continuation of rituals and deviant occult practices that goes back 5,000 years.
Can you always go take it back to the pyramids? But Epstein was asked about Trump in a disposition, so I want to play this It's an old clip, but people might not have seen it.
Ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
All right, Mia, you got to represent MAGA tonight. What's your thoughts on Jeffrey Epstein?
I mean, he did it. They all did it. Everybody in there did it. I mean, it's ridiculous to say they did it. Everybody did it. Jay-Z did it. Everybody did it. These are rumors that have been around for decades. These are not like new things. People have been saying this seedy stuff about Jay-Z, Diddy, R. Kelly since the mid-1990s. I mean, there's nothing new about this. I agree with Ken Billions. It's like cognitive dissonance for anybody that says, this person didn't do it. It's slander. No, it's the truth. And people don't want to hear the truth. And the truth is the justice system is set up for the rest of us, not for them. That the United States government took a look and said it was cheaper to keep it quiet because these people run the world. I mean, some of the stuff that I say from the Jeffrey Epstein files links royalty, and not the royalty that you'd think we already know about Andrew. These are dynasties that are far older. I have it literally downloaded on my computer. So, I mean, and that's just the uncomfortable truth is that they don't care about getting these predators. They just care about keeping the world going.
So I'll play a flashback of Trump, why people think he would do something like this, because Trump used to be a judge for a model agency. Some of these girls are 14 in this video.
Contestants participated in an exhaustive round of personal interviews designed to help our judges discover what makes each one special.
Your 5'9" reading? Serious, huh? We may measure again tonight before the game. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Amy.
The concentration was intense inside the judging room.
They don't like you as you are.
And out.
I'm just so excited.
Each girl was considered not only for her beauty and poise, but also for her personality and that indefinable something extra that makes a top model.
Okay, you want to pull your hair back 1 second? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ingrid. Good luck for tonight. Thank you.
When it came time to choose the 21 finalists, emotions ran high as each judge expressed his or her opinion.
Okay, Doc, so Trump was a judge in that. Does that make him look more guilty? What do you think?
Trump, this is the first time I'm going to say this. Trump is a genius. Trump is an absolute genius. And I got to applaud him on this, right? Actually, because Ken and Mia are big into the conspiracies and speculation. And all this is speculation. You know what you can prove? You can see someone in Minnesota getting shot on camera. That is a fact. And that was warming up and getting real hot. And you couldn't turn on anything without seeing it. And you know what Trump said? Cut these niggas a slice of that Epstein pie real quick. And that shit went away. Trump cut niggas another slice of that Epstein pie. And they on here talking about what they think happened, who was in there, what actually did you. No, it doesn't show no proof of what people actually hardcore evidence did. It's just speculation. Yeah, we believe they all did it, but it's just speculation. You can't convict anybody on that. You can see what they're doing out there to people, shooting them down in the street. It's on video. And Trump cut these niggas a slice of that Epstein pie and they forgot about it in 2 days. It was 30 seconds later and you ain't heard a thing about it yet. You can't even find a clip of it. You got to go in and put it in your search bar now. Trump is a genius, bro. I didn't know he was that smart. He said we got 200,000 more files. We ain't gave these niggas. He got backup in case you niggas need another slice. You back for seconds? Okay, I got you. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? That was smart on his behalf because whether or not, whatever you think he did, what do you have proof of? What can you prove? You can't prove anything. All of it is just a conversation. We had proof of all this other stuff. You could see it. and he shifted the narrative. That's intelligence.
So this is what Trump press secretary had to say when she was questioned about it.
President ever spent hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim? These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. It was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Guffrey maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us.
Skeptic. So what do you think about what the press secretary said there? Of course, I know you probably feel like Trump is guilty. People in the comments are saying he's going to get impeached? Do you feel like he's going to get impeached?
I think he's not going to get impeached for this, which is interesting. But I will say this, I didn't expect conservatives to come out and actually believe the proof, because there is proof. She's blatantly lying to you. If you can go and read the files yourself, like you can go to the DOJ website, you can look up this man's name and look at the library and search code words on there. You can literally type in words and you can read things for yourself. So there's pictures and videos. I want to say there's a picture of this man who's president with his face redacted, but there's pictures of children whose bodies were not redacted, even though they didn't have any clothes on. So it's interesting what they are prioritizing as far as privacy goes. And I think I've kind of been shocked at the way of some people. I think they actually were bamboozled, like they were actually tricked, and they actually believed what this man was selling them. And they have actually come out and said, I think that he is also, a PD3, and I think that I don't support him anymore. So it's interesting that conservatives were the ones pushing forward the Epstein files. They were the ones that knew there was something in there. And I honestly thought it was all like conspiracy. But now looking at the actual files, if you actually are interested in facts and you like to read, you should go and read it, because it's available to all of us. And it wasn't this man that made it available. It was Congress. It was a congressional committee that said, hey, we want this transparency. And they passed literally a transparency act in order to release a lot of these files. So the president really didn't have a say so. This is why they didn't want to confirm the lady that had won for Louisiana, who was like another Democrat, right? Because she would have been that vote, who was the vote to release all this information. So, and I agree that I don't care who's on there. I don't care if it's Joe Biden. Whoever is on there, I think should be held criminally liable for the things it's some disgusting stuff in there. Like it's stuff that'll make your stomach turn. And like I am not like privy to this type of thing. And when I have read it, it's literally made me sick. Like I've been reading for myself now for a couple days, and I've even posted on how you can go find the information yourself. So I've been reading it myself, so nobody can come and lie to me like this lady just did with no lips. And so I'm doing my own work, right? To be able to have the knowledge so nobody can lie to me. You can't look at my face and tell me I'm not reading what I'm reading. You can't look at my face and tell me I didn't see the pictures that I just saw. Like I just opened them on my own laptop and I just saw what I saw. So I think it's interesting that we should all go and do the work.
I think the issue here too, though, is that the names that are being mentioned, these people, they're plugged into systems and supply chains. And because the public doesn't own the means of production, when you start plucking these people out of their positions, you start affecting the system. And that's the diabolical thing about this, the way this shit is set up, is that all of these characters are plugged into a system that if you take them out of it, it affects the system. So if they go down, the system, they take the system with them. The public doesn't own the supply chain. You know what I'm saying? So once you start affecting these people also start affecting the system. It's like that little piece of yarn in your clothes. And when you pull it, all of a sudden, everything comes unraveled, and they are deeply entrenched and deeply layered into the supply chain, into finances, into everything. So if they fall, they take things with them, and the things that they take have an effect on the public's lives. You know what I mean? And that's why
Shoot. Okay. Shoot. I just got a question. What, like, I struggle. I want to know what's everybody's idea of proof. Proof of what? Proof that these people knew him. Proof that he was there. He's in the 1% of America. Of course, he was around all these people. Of course, he shakes their hand. Of course, they hung out. Of course, they ate dinner. Of course, they were around. They might have even took pictures. Proof of what? Proof of enough evidence to prosecute someone? I haven't seen that in there. I haven't read anything in there that you could prosecute someone for a essay or being a pedo, or I haven't been reading any of that stuff. I've read a lot of people were around, a lot of people took a flight, a lot of people came here and stayed at the island. I hadn't heard what the people have done, is what I'm saying. And when people say, oh, we got proof that they what? They hung out with another billionaire, that they did weird Diddy parties, that they were crazy. Like, I didn't need a picture of them to know that. I knew that was going on. But what is it proof? What can you prosecute for? And I don't think that's in there.
Doc, their behavior is the proof.
What they said was Trump received fellatio from a minor. That's what it said in the paperwork. But this is what Trump said himself about the case, saying that's going to backfire against Democrats.
Other things to do, because that whole thing has turned out, I mean, other than Bill Clinton and, Bill Gates and lots of people that there are a lot of questions about it, but nothing on me. But it was even sort of better than that, because they found that Jeffrey Epstein and this sleazebag writer named Michael Wolff were conspiring against Donald Trump to lose the election. So Epstein was conspiring with a writer for me to lose the election. So right there, you know that I had nothing to do with this guy. But yeah, it's a terrible thing. The amount of time that's being wasted. When Epstein was alive, like 10 years ago, nobody cared about it. But they're only doing it. But now it's really hitting back on them, because Bill Clinton is such a big part of it. The Democrats are pushing it. And the problem is that it's turning out to be the Democrats that were with and conspired with Epstein. So I think you're probably going to see a little pullback from them. But think of it, they were working together to try and help me lose the election. But this is the Oval Office, so I guess that didn't work out too well.
Mia, so is this backfiring on Democrats? And was Epstein trying to keep Trump from winning the election?
I mean, it's all political theater. I mean, I don't think it's going to backfire on anybody. I mean, he may think it is. I don't really support that. I think everybody is doing absolutely everything they can to keep people entertained, because the let them eat cake, the bread has run out, and the circus is on its last leg. And they can tell the tides are turning in the United States. We're all pretty ripe for a revolution here soon. I mean, living conditions for most people in this country is abysmal. We lost over 1 million jobs in 1 year. We're on the trajectory to lose hundreds of thousands of jobs this next quarter we're rolling into. I mean, it's pretty abysmal right now. So I think at this point in time, they're breadcrumbing or giving slices of Epstein cake to keep people entertained until they can manufacture something else to happen.
Well, before we continue, let's actually hear from one of the victims.
My name's Anushka DeGiorgio, and I'm a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And today I'm not reading any of Virginia Giuffre's book. Over the weekend, when I was spending time with my daughter on what was meant to be a regenerative and recovery-based trip, doing some therapy,
who is this?
I got a message from my attorneys, Brad Edwards and Brittany Henderson.
He's Jeffrey Epstein.
That pages and pages of my personal information.
Oh, okay.
And notes from the federal agents during the federal trial that I was required to participate in the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, had been released with the Epstein files. And I got a sinking feeling in my stomach. And in some ways, it was like the sinking feeling of being traumatized by the perpetrators, being re-traumatized by the perpetrators. But this time it felt even worse because the current administration were meant to be releasing the files responsibly. When I met with Speaker Johnson at Capitol Hill a few months ago, he shook my hand and he looked me in the eye and he said, "I'm so sorry for what you've been through. And I want you to hold me personally accountable for following through on getting these files released in an effective and a responsible way, protecting your identity, your experiences, and holding accountable the people who are responsible for enabling and committing these crimes." Well, that's not what's happened. And it makes me lose faith in this country, in the system. And it's been a very difficult weekend. Accountability seems to be a very hard won in the world today, and particularly in this country. I hope things can change soon. Please share this video and share your thoughts.
So, Skeptic, you were talking about, you read the files and everything like that. So, hearing it from a victim, is people in the chat saying don't believe the victim. Do you feel like that's warranted? Why do you feel like people don't believe the victim?
I think that there's a report that people that tend to lean more conservative tend to not believe victims, but people that lean more liberal tend to distance themselves from someone, even if they've only been accused. And they do tend to believe women more often than not. So I think those people in the chat probably want to defend this president because, again, cognitive dissonance. But I will say this. Not only has this man had over 20 women say that he has essayed them, like we knew this before any of the files were released. Not only that, but now if you, again, go and do your due diligence and go read, you will see that the FBI has reports, not just the young girl that said she gave fellatio, but there are other women that have said, "I woke up, I was sore. The last face I saw was this president's face. He left $300 in the dresser." Like paying her off. She blacked out, didn't know what happened. The FBI has reports, and we are seeing the reports in these files. So we have pictures with his face redacted. Why would they redact his face on there? And the interesting thing is that we have like emails before they ever released these new files. We already had emails of his name on there. As of today, they counted 5,300 times where this president's name has been mentioned in some of the files. There are millions of paper, like there are millions of files that have been released. Nobody has gone through all of them. So 5,300 times to me seems a little bit like, he was doing something more than just hanging out. But I'll say, I wanted to mention this about the oligarchs. From a capitalistic perspective, and the way that they've run the economy and their imperialistic way of rule that they have had over us, I think they tend to make us believe that they are smarter than us because they have more money. But in reality, we make the system work. I don't know how much you've worked in a career or when it comes to like a corporation. Normally, the CEO has no idea what's going on. The CEO kind of is the face of the company, but the people that make that company work are everybody at the bottom. It's everyone that works together. A lot of the time, CFOs and CEOs do nothing more than sign things off. And a lot of the time, they're oblivious to what it is that needs to be done for the company to be successful. We will be okay if we incarcerate every perverted man that is out there doing these type of deeds. It doesn't stop me to think the world's going to stop because we put away some disgusting men and put them in jail where they deserve to be. I don't care. If the world stops, let the world stop. These men deserve to be put in jail. They deserve to be held accountable for the things that they've done. And it's not just SA. It's not just great that they're doing to women. These men were sick in the head. They were going out there trying to torture people. Like they're sick. They're sick people. I don't think it's all sexually based. I think part of it is deeper than that. I think that there are remains that we need to go and find in these people's properties. I really do. From the things that I've read, it goes beyond the sexual thing that they had in their mind. These people actually want power over another human. Like they are actually evil. They're the embodiment of evil, and we need to stop them.
Well, in this situation, you were actually luckily if you were black. So I'm gonna play this.
Black girls allowed on Epstein Island? Here's why. Jeff gave in at some point and told him, yes, I'll find some friends. Jeff wanted young, fresh girls, virgins. He told, don't bring me any N-words. Never ever brought any friends. At this point in the interview, attorney Barry advised the following. At Epstein's request, she at times met people on the beach and may have told them something to the effect of, if you want to party, go to Epstein's. Following statement. Shook her shoulders and head in the affirmative. Clarified that after what Jeff had done to her, she did not want it. The grapes and actual assaults to be repeated. And she decided finding other girls for him, strangers she found in town, might spare her more abuse.
Doc, how you feel about Epstein not want no black meat?
Hey man, you know what I'm saying? They ask you why the dark when you drive through Popeye's drive-through. You feel me? Epstein said he wanted a breast and a wing. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I ain't mad at him. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? That shit get dried out anyway. You fry it too hard. You know what I'm saying? So shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just their preference. You know what I'm saying? They got their preference and stuff like that. And I've been reading through the Epstein file. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna go like, I'm big on like evidence for people. Like, because I've been to court, I sat there, I've been a defendant, and it's not convictable evidence. It's not evidence that would convict these people. Like I said, they say, even some of the stuff skeptics say, yeah, he got fellatio from a minor. Who? You got to have an accuser to convict someone. Someone has to accuse you of the act and point the finger out at you for you to be convicted. You can't just be convicted on conjecture. Even when, I don't care if they mention his name 20,000 times. You have to accuse him of a crime and put the evidence there. And that's what I lack. When they said that they're holding all of these other files back, they're not putting evidence out there of an actual crime. Saying, hey, I seen his face and I woke up and I couldn't remember. It's not convictable and evidence you can convict someone on. You know what I mean? And I think they know that, which is the reason why we got those, you know, these files to talk about. They know that, and they know that you can actually see someone being shot and killed on camera. And what we doing, we're gonna cut your ass another slice of that Epstein pie. You know what I'm saying? And now we all up here, you know, this week we looked at a man get shot in the street in the back like a dog last week. And this week we on here, you know, trying to decipher whether or not, yeah, they doing fucked up shit at the top. We know that they're never gonna give us enough proof to convict them. So we either gonna have to revolt as a society and go put their heads on spikes like they did back in the day, and you know what I'm saying, take over the country, or you know what I'm saying, we just gonna have to like focus on things we can control, you know what I'm saying, try to save American citizens, and you know what I mean. So that's kind of the stuff I'll be on. So I'm more of an evidence base. I know everybody like the conspiracies. Ken got his conspiracy theory face on right now. You know what I'm saying? But I done been to court too many times to know that, like, you know, I'm with the evidence most of the time. And that don't mean the other stuff isn't happening, but I just try to go with the evidence.
But Doc, you a parent, right? When the children are in the kitchen doing shit in the refrigerator when they're not supposed to, in the cookie jar, right? You don't have to see the evidence. You see their behavior. Their behavior convicts them. You never even see the cookie, right? It's hid under some shit, but their behavior tells you, right? What is their behavior telling us, right? Why was Prince Andrew stripped of his royal titles? What did he do? What was he doing, right? Why are you blurting out certain names? Why does this shit need to be edited so much? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? You know what I'm saying? Like, their behavior towards this shit is the evidence that we need. You know what I'm saying? And as far as them not wanting, Negroes for this, they bring Negroes on the back end. There's a book called The Delectable Negro. They eat niggas too. You know what I mean? That's a fact. That is a fact. There's a book called The Delectable Negro. Historically, they eat niggas for their melanin. That's not a fucking conspiracy. So if they're not hunching, then they're definitely barbecuing.
But it's my thing, Ken. This is my thing. I'm running. It's tyranny over here, Ken. I'm a tyrant over here at this house. I could run this shit. It ain't no Congress over here, Ken. This shit is run just by me. When you get into there, it's a different set of rules. You see what I'm saying? It's not just based on what I think. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so we talk about the black people, so we'll get to one of the most famous black people on the Epstein list.
Oh, Jay-Z and Pusha T are on the Epstein files, and people are not trying to keep the same energy saying it's cap. Nah. Y'all said we believe in everything on the Epstein files. Which one is it? The woman on the files claims that Pusha T and Harvey Weinstein attended a party with her, and then they proceeded to give her that Bill Cosby and then SA. She then proceeded that Jay-Z R-worded her as well back in 1996, even stating that she felt that she was in the home of Epstein. Also, it's claimed that Bill Gates caught something from one of the Russian girls he was messing with and was asking for medicine. And Elon was asking to be a part of the most nastiest party that he got. Some are saying no way Jay-Z's part is true because in 1996, he barely had blown up yet. He wasn't as famous as he is now. Now you have people on social media saying no. They believe everything about Elon and Bill Gates, but they won't believe anything when it comes to Pusha T and Jay-Z, saying that it had to be planted. While others are saying that how are we gonna believe some victims and not all victims on the Epstein files when everyone agreed that whoever names popped up on the Epstein file, they was gonna get that belt basically. What do you guys feel like? Do you guys feel
Mia, are people playing favoritism with the Epstein files?
Yes. I mean, that's it. I mean, we have pictures with Jay-Z and Aaliyah when she was 15, 16, 17 years old, underage, hanging out with R. Kelly. I mean, we're not. And then also Beyonce has gone on the record, and there is record of him and her meeting allegedly when she was 16, and then he allegedly waited until she was 19 to start dating her, allegedly. And then not to mention the fact of there is, oh my God, he allegedly R-worded a underage girl, got her pregnant, and there's been ongoing litigation in and out of court for the last 10 years with an adult son that looks actually remarkably quite a bit like him, looks more like him than his actual biological kids with Beyonce do. I mean, there's nothing but evidence to say that this man historically is interested in young teenage Black women. And we have these pictures to prove it. So it is favoritism. You got to keep it 100. I know everybody likes Jay-Z, but I mean, his behavior tells us that he was over 30 years old hanging out with 16-year-old Beyonce, and we have pictures to prove it. So do what you will with that information.
This is what Kanye said about Jay and Pusha T.
People like Jay-Z and fucking Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love
and
Pusha's
somebody in the
music so
comments
much,
talking
right?
about
But
Foxy
you
Brown
think they would
too.
ever? Beyonce had the best for somebody else
as well.
Yeah. You gonna
so
say
yeah,
you
that's
think they
like
would
four
ever
names.
tell the truth? No, if they told the truth. I ain't go to jail.
And we said Kanye was
So
crazy.
you have liars. Liars are now the face of our culture.
Go ahead, Skeptic, what you said.
I'm saying I know he's canceled and I know he said some crazy stuff. He came back and said he was sorry. And I still think he's canceled, but they called him crazy. And a lot of the time, people that are willing to talk and say the things that nobody else wants to say, a lot of the time they'll say the truth. They speak on truth. They go off the hinges and they're uncontrollable, but I believe it. I mean, I agree with what Mia was saying. We know by his history, same thing with this man that's president. He was held liable for rape. I don't know why people act I don't know. I just don't get it. How many women came out? Miss Arizona came out and said that when she was 16, this man kissed her on the lips. And she was stunned because she didn't know what he was doing. And she was literally going for Miss Teen. USA. She has came out and said, this man approached me, and because he was the owner, I don't know what to do, and literally just like forcibly kissed me. So we know this man's been doing like this. These guys, it's not a surprise. They have a pattern of behavior. It's not that far-fetched to know that yes, they would do something like this and then go on a group with the other people that like doing the same thing and create this, disgusting island. Like it's very believable.
So Nikki crashed out on Jay-Z, the MAGA queen. I don't know if she's doing it for Trump, but this is what she said.
She trying to secure that green card. She's trying to stay.
Satanic.
You know, her husband can't go nowhere in front of a school or parks or anything, so she's pretty limited to what she can do in this country.
Y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story times, since I was trying to not say what I know, yet they continue to attempt bullying. Guys, it gets no more blatant than that. But in case you still don't know what she was saying, let's go to another tweet. She put, your favorite artist, so not just Jay-Z, your favorite artist, has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and unalive them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. My Lord. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. Guys, do you know how wicked this is? Not only that, but this is stuff.
Ken, that's what you was talking about, right?
Yeah, it's so interesting though once you've been in this knowledge for a long time, because it's just wash, rinse, repeat. So man, when you grow up on a person like David Icke or Anthony Hilder or Alex Jones, like it's just this is QAnon though, right? Like recycle shit though. My only problem with this is put it in the bars, make a song about it, it be more powerful, right? The problem I have with this is when artists do this on Twitter or something, but then when it's time to rap, you talking about dick and pussy. Put it in the raps, make a song about it. It'll last longer. You know what I'm saying? Put it with a hook. It'll last longer. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think she's deeply researched on these matters. You know what I mean? I think she hears it, but also too, when you do this though, you also have to talk about how you're part of the same cabal, right? Your hands are not clean in this shit. You know what I'm saying? You also have to go secret for a secret. You was in the rooms too. Same labels. You know what I'm saying? For you to get access, when she's doing and channeling Roman, when she's channeling that character, you know what I mean? She's part of this shit. And oftentimes, this is disgruntled employee stuff. It was okay when it was okay. You are involved in this shit. You're part of the same cabal. All you have to do is go look at her old performances. She's channeling a character, Roman's revenge and shit like that. That wasn't her character when she came out, when she was on some beam me up Scotty shit. She started channeling this character. So she's talking about Jay-Z. She's talking about Desiree Perez. She's talking about the industry that she's also an employee of. You're involved in the shit. So I don't like this because it's the disgruntled employee. You work for the same occult shit. You are just disgruntled. And if you are a person that stands on truth, you don't wait for a person. You don't wait for grievances. If you stand on truth, you put this shit out when you are at your highest, not when you're at your lowest. You sacrifice everything for the bars. So I think this is disingenuous.
So a member of the Trump administration did say some things were removed from the Epstein files, but I'll let you guys hear the video.
Any depiction of CSAM or child pornography was obviously excluded. Anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. And finally, anything that depicts or contain images of death, physical abuse, or injury, also not produced.
So, Doc, you said there's not evidence, but they're saying that, you know, child pornography and death was removed. Does that mean that that was in the Epstein files? Or do you feel like that is evidence?
Yeah, for sure that's evidence, but evidence against who? Was it evidence against Jeffrey Epstein? Was it evidence against some of these people? I think it's evidence in there. I just don't think they'll ever give us evidence. You know what I mean? I think just the stuff that they give us is part of the distraction. You know what I mean? Like they convicted him and they convicted his co-defendant. So there's evidence in there. They just haven't released the evidence. And that's my biggest problem. Like when we get so worked up and we talk about these files that they give us or these pictures are just they just put names out there. They could just put names out there and allow you to have the conversation yourself. And we all believe what's going on. No one thinks that this stuff isn't going on. I'm just saying they haven't given us the evidence at the top. And that's my biggest problem. We know some of these other injustices are going on. We have proof, we have video, and they've allowed us to go astray with something we can't prove at the moment in a court of law and get justice for these people. You know what I mean? So like we could be getting justice for some other people. There's people we could be attempting to get justice for, but we're out here with no evidence base, you know what I'm saying? Just throwing something to the wall, hoping that it sticks. But of course there's evidence. And I mean, if he ran around this long, at some point these people feel like they aren't going to be caught, they aren't going to be held accountable. They're bigger than the program. And they think when you say God, they look up and they see themselves in the clouds. You know what I mean? So of course there is evidence, but will we ever get it? Because I think the government knows that if they have evidence on some of these people, it ruined the country or it ruined their idea or shape or form of this country. So they never give that to the people. They give up all these files and all these names and all these people. It tell you everybody who was flying, like, yo, they'll give you the flight itineraries crazy, like, yo, this person flew, this person flew. They leave out any. What did they do? They flew and what did they do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who's the person? Why is there no one who comes out? Like, even the lady who says, hey, I'm a survivor. Why, like, you could get on and point to the person and say it was this person, you know what I mean? And you would change the whole landscape of the country, you know what I mean? And I just can't believe that for all the people they trafficked, none have come out. They probably killed a lot of them though, because they got a lot of money. So, that's probably part of it. But yeah, nah, I just
Can I say something? So looking through some of the older files, there was grand jury testimony of, at the time she was 21, that she was giving the testimony. When she was working for Jeffrey, she was a teenager, and she used to enlist her friends. She said her friends she would bring there to give him massages for $200 a piece. People would approach her at school. So I think a lot of the reason that we don't have so many people coming forward is because they're in ways they're in the situation they wanted to be in that situation, whether we want to admit it or not, whether we think it's right or not. A lot of these girls willingly put themselves for $200 in this situation. Most of these girls were not forced, especially the ones out in Palm Beach and Coral Springs. Very specifically, like this girl said, she had girls coming up to her in high school asking to be brought there. And it was a very well-known gig, giving him and his friends massages at his house for $200 a piece. That's what he was paying her to procure her friends and bring them there. So I feel like a lot of people aren't coming forward because, they took the money and they agreed to it.
And it's people want to remain secretive. This is a video that's going viral, and this is Jeffrey Epstein chasing around girls, and everybody's face is blocked out. Ken, what's your thoughts on that video?
it's hard to have thoughts. You can't see nobody's face. I mean, kind of like what doctor's saying. It's like, first and foremost, we can't have it both ways. What are we going to do next Sunday? Is everybody going to suspend all this shit for a second for 3 hours to watch the Super Bowl? Because it's part of the same cabal. This is the problem, right? So the Epstein file sections off the names in the files. But then we look at the other parts of Hollywood and act like it's not that. Have the people started cutting their subscriptions? Are the people still watching TV? Are they still... Everybody watched the Grammys yesterday. As if those people in there are not doing the same shit. So this kind of becomes pointless because it's for they're not going to get convicted or anything, because how can the system eat its own self? So who's going to convict them? They're part of the same shit, right? So if the public is not going to turn their TV off, if the public is not going to not watch the Super Bowl, if people still want to be entertained and we're still going to the movies as if one side is this and then the other side isn't, it's kind of pointless. And it kind of just becomes content. Because at the end of the day, for that parasite not to feed, then the public will have to shift its attention and starve our insatiable appetite for celebrities and entertainment and politics.
So, Skeptic, I'm going to play your favorite Mexican. He's going to explain the Epstein timeline.
First, you said they're on your desk. Now you say they don't exist. You campaigned saying you're going to release the files. Now you say there are no files.
He's not Mexican. He's white too.
You talked about the sex trafficking ring. As a matter of fact, that's what Epstein was charged with and convicted for 20 years ago. Now you say there never was a sex trafficking ring. 2 weeks before the war, Elon's got a black eye and says Trump won't release the files because he's in them. Now Netanyahu brings this giant trophy to the White House to commemorate their victory in the war.
You got me there, Greg.
And right before he arrives,
I was
he
going
gets
to see
this
somebody
gift,
with a
which
little
is
bit
the
more
Epstein
melanin in
files
their
are
skin.
going
I
to be
was
buried.
expecting somebody a little bit more
people don't
tan,
look
not
so.
Nazi Nick.
Then you get this extraordinary cover-up. Trump comes out as guilty and defensive as anybody could possibly be. He says, if you are interested in the files, you're an idiot. You're a fake supporter. You're with the Democrats. You're with them. It's a hoax. The Democrats made it up. Why would they not get to the bottom of it under Biden? One line after another, one excuse after another, piling up. There are no files. It's only child sex abuse material. The files are real, but they're a hoax. They're real, but they're fake. If you believe in them, you're not my real supporter. Then you have Republican members of Congress that break with the party and vote with the Democrats to release the files. Congress shuts down a month early to prevent this from going through. Thomas Massie, Marjorie Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert get together, and they, working with the Democrats, are going to compel the release of the files with an act of Congress. They're even going to bypass the Speaker of the House, the leader of their own party. Congress closes a month early for their summer recess to prevent this from happening. Then when Congress comes back, do we get the files? No, because Congress shuts down for 45 days. Longest government shutdown in history. And in the end, the Democrats give up without any concessions. Kind of weird. Then a week later, we finally get this bill. It goes to the floor. It passes. Marjorie Greene, who pushed it, resigns mysteriously after getting death threats. Then Trump tries to drag his feet. They try to delay the release of the files. They try to amend the bill. Doesn't work. It takes 2 months. Now we're in January 26. We finally get the files, and there's 6 million of them. Now we finally get the files after they pulled out every stop to prevent this from happening. They shut down the government. They shut down Congress. They tried to trick us. They tried to postpone it. They lied. Trump tried to guilt trip us, tried to tell us it's not real. Finally, they release them. There's 6 million files. And Trump is named almost 5,000 times. And you say, okay, so that was a lie. Everything they said about it was a lie.
Skeptic, do you agree with Nick? Can you hear us?
Oh, did it cut out? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I didn't know that man could put in like a complete sentence, so I am impressed that he could even do that. But I did want to say, I don't think that children can be held accountable, like in comparison to an adult. Even if an adult is able to coerce a child and tell them they're going to give them money or buy them shoes or whatever, I don't think that it's a child's responsibility, or that they can like they cannot even give consent, right? Because they're children. So I don't believe about, the women. That's why they're not coming out. I believe that these people are so powerful that they have either unalived people. They unalived one of their, men that were be considered an ally or would be considered the same as far as the power goes. So therefore anybody under them would obviously be scared to come out. So I think that's the reason why women haven't come out. I don't think I think also predators choose their victims wisely. If you I've looked into this before, the psychology of how these people choose what type of child. Like I was a very loud, obnoxious type of kid, and so my personality wouldn't be optimal for someone who's trying to find a victim, right? Because I'm the type of kid that would be loud and say, "Hey, what's going on? This is weird," and I always tell my parents. And so I wouldn't probably would, not be used for that type of thing. But there are people that have a certain, maybe they are, I don't know, they're in poverty or they need something. And so they are more likely to be victimized. So I think that also another reason they chose in a way that makes it hard for that type of person to come out or want to say something. Maybe they just want to live their life and not be bothered with the trauma that they've already gone through. But I will say to what Nick is saying, this is wild. Never thought I would say this, but I think he has a point in some of the things that he's saying. Because we were dragged through, and here's the crazy part. The conservatives were the ones that said there is a conspiracy. There are people at the very top that are involved. The funny thing is they thought they were all Democrats, and it turned out that it was their main base that were in there, and some Democrats too. So I think that he kind of lied to them. Pam Bondi said the list is on my desk, and then turned around and said that it wasn't. We saw Dan Bongino almost quit whenever they first said they weren't going to release any more information. They told us there was no more information to release. I don't know if people remember that. They told us, hey, we've actually looked, and actually they were right. There's no more information. Turns out there's a lot more information. So we've been lied to multiple times. They told us they were going to release more files in phases. They gave the first phase, and then they were going to give more phases, and no other phase ever came. So we have been lied to. They have looked us in the face and thought we were dumb. So I do think that, they should be held accountable for that, for lying to their own base.
Fun fact, Jeffrey Epstein was banned from Call of Duty for arguing with kids and cursing people out.
Hey, you trash! I did that!
But for our last clip, I'm going to play a flashback of Trump with Epstein. Then we'll do our final thoughts. The 80s were wild. If you watch it right now, hit that subscribe button and press that notification bell. Doc, what's your final thoughts?
I implore people to realize Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019. There was an administration before this. There's going to be an administration after this. Both sides are in cahoots on this to keep the truth from the American people. Both sides are responsible. Both sides are involved. Both sides are guilty. Both sides aren't going to put the proof out there because they know that they're guilty. And I just want us to, until we have some information we can convict and get these people on, I want us to focus on things we can do, things we can change. And I think we can also, I think if the next person who comes up, we're gonna have to, vote for people who will give us honest information. So we'll just have to see.
Mia, what's your final thoughts?
This has been a great episode. I'm sad that no Republican or conservatives were on the panel. Clearly, everybody called out this episode, leaving me by myself, and even then, I'm a centrist. You know, all these 1%ers are in a club and we're not in it. The government said they took a look at the profit loss and they realized it was just cheaper and easier to keep these people in place and to allow them to do these things to ordinary citizens and international citizens. The government has and will never, ever work for the regular people. It is going to preserve itself at all costs, which is why Jeffrey Epstein was nothing ever really happened to him. All of these men, and some women, none of them, whether they're royalty or not, nothing has ever happened to them. None of them are in prison besides, Maxwell. She's the only one. Other than that, nothing's going to happen because at the end of the day, the country's not going to eat itself. So there's no point.
Mia, thank you for being a good sport. You do have to be on the right and the left sometimes, so thank you for being diverse. Skeptic, what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, follow us on TikTok if you like having political debates. We have been having really good ones this week. And also, I will say, go and do your own research. If the more educated that we become, the more that we are intrigued to kind of figure things out on our own, the less we are likely to be manipulated and to be fooled. And I think more power to the people. We do need to rise up. I am glad for what's going on. And I am seeing legislation come out of people protesting the way that they have. And I think that, the reason why we can vote is because blood was shed. People literally put their bodies on the line in order for this country to change. And that is what we have to do again. Like, we'll have to continue to do this to have a better nation for our children. And I'm going to continue to say, don't let anyone trample on your constitutional rights.
Nice. I didn't think you was going to say it. Nice. Ken, what's your final thoughts?
Okay, real quick. Lepercalia, that's Rome. Floria, that's Rome. Aphrodisia, that's Greece. Yukata, that's Japan. Festival of Drunkenness, that's ancient Egypt. And Akatu, that's Mesopotamia. Those are just to name a few of ancient sexual festivals that modern Hollywood, politicians, and all the elites practice. Everything we just made known to it, right? Everything that we are experiencing is just a reenactment of the ancient world. And we are a little smarter than the common folks at that particular time because the common people had no clue what was going on the insides of the palaces. Here's the thing. As long as we have a system, you will have these same characters and this same behavior every single time. This is nothing but a 5,000-year continuation of bloodlines. There is no voting it out. Did you understand? You can't vote it out. It's always going to be in, okay? As long as you have a system, as long as you have secret societies. I'm reading one right now. It's called the Secret Temple, right? As long as you have politicians and Hollywood, which is all based on old ancient shit. I keep going back to that. It cannot be stopped. You can't vote it out. It does not matter whether it's left. It does not matter if it's right. The only thing you're going to pick is whose personality that you like and who softens the blow. But you cannot vote this shit out, and you can't pray it out either. It's baked into civilization. So deal with it because it ain't going nowhere.
For sure. My final thoughts is we do this every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, the Man Cave, Tuesday, Thursday, the New Party, and MAGA. Like, we're just trying to talk about it. We talk about everything. So we'd like to give a safe space to talk about everything, and we get further as a society being able to talk and converse and be able to talk about this. So tomorrow, I think Nora's going to be talking about the Epstein files again. I'll be back at 12 p.m. Eastern to talk about the Epstein files and the Grammys. Have a good night, Man Cave.
Before we wrap, I want to take a quick moment to talk about how you can support the new party. We are an independent media platform. No corporate backers, no political handlers, just a collection of voices representing all American viewpoints, especially the stories they don't want you talking about.
I'm disgusted with our government, and it doesn't matter which party you're talking about. I'm disgusted.
We are watching an active genocide. I don't know how else to put it. There are thousands of people getting killed every day.
This is the first time in history that an American cardinal has ever been elevated to pope. It is legitimately make America great again.
Yes.
Like, they're fighting for illegal immigrants, not immigrants. Illegal. Like, and they burning the flag and shit.
Like I always say, it was a great episode. I'm happy with the wins that Donald Trump's.
Like you heard Nora Skeptic say, we're going to keep bringing like different types of content and things that we know people want to see. And like we always say on the New Party, always vote.
If you believe Americans can still have civil discourse, even in these polarizing times, we need your help to stay independent and keep growing. You can support us by donating to our GoFundMe page, becoming a channel member, sending a super chat, or grabbing merch from the New Party store. Every donation goes directly toward growing the channel promotion and our upcoming documentary. And as a thank you, donors will receive an exclusive copy of the documentary 1 week before it premieres. Who is the New Party? We're you, your voice, your stories, your America. We can only do this together. So if you're able, please donate and help us get the message out.